Skipping through the answers.
So you got to pull. It's like you got to use your diaphragm, and then you got to pull it in.
We had very different. Yeah, we had very different reactions.
We're almost harmonizing that, which would have been awesome. But it's all right.
Mine was more of a neutral, like, oh, I don't know what this is going to be, and yours is a little more positive.
I think we really we should move this channel and these shows into getting more into barbershop quartets, because I think that would be really fun, dude. Like, imagine like a but it's just us. Like, we have different channels and we use voice changers. But I think we could do a lot with that, and I think we could probably I'd love the barbershop old TI songs, or the old, ludicrous songs and everything. But hey, welcome everyone to Chance and Penner Live. I'm Chance, and as always, we're here with the magnificent Penner. Hey, magnificent Penner.
See, I'm still trying to get into it.
That's gonna be
Penner.
You got to seize any moment you can harmonize something, because it doesn't really come up that often in life, unless you're like a musical theater kid. Then that's your whole life.
That's your identity. So, I can't stop looking at your sad clown back there, dude. You got some new art back there?
So there's a clown picture of a clown. It's one of my favorite things ever. It's Sean Townley gave me that. He painted that one night at probably 5 a.m.
He painted that? That's awesome.
Well, the one below it, this one right here, is this the one you're talking about? The one with the red nose?
Yeah.
So that one I got I literally took that out of a dumpster behind a thrift store in Orange Circle, because I was like, why would nobody want this, and why would they throw it away? And it's not the only time I've taken a picture. I have a pretty awesome old antique painting of Abraham Lincoln that they used to use in schoolhouses. Used to have a picture of George Washington, and they used to have one of Abraham Lincoln. So randomly, I'm walking by. We were going to breakfast at Orange Circle in Orange, California, and there's a ton of antique stores. And there's a dumpster, and this Lincoln picture is just sitting out there. And I'm like, there's nobody in the world that wants this Lincoln picture. So anyway, I took it. It still has the original frame. I don't, I'm sure it's trash.
You don't know where it came from at all?
I have no idea. I just know that it was came from an antique shop, but I don't know the origins of where it came after, before that. But
don't you also have something that, what is it, like a portrait or something that somebody gave you that they said Paul Rubens gave them, or what was it?
Yeah. So the very first comedy theater that I performed at was called the Berubin Theater, and it started out in Costa Mesa, and it was in the back of an old mattress warehouse. Dave, you came to a few of the improv classes with me there. But me and my buddy Adam, there was advertisements for improv. So when I left Point Loma and I came back, I was like, okay, I'll go do improv, because it's something I've always wanted to do. And during my last 6 months at Point Loma, I kind of got obsessed with sketch comedy in terms of the groundlings and the history behind everything. So I came home and I went to, actually it was my dad who told me, hey, I saw this sign for improv classes, you should go check it out. So me and my buddy Adam went to go. This is you weren't expecting this long-winded story, but I went to where the address for where it was, and it had said it was closed, but that they had moved it to a place in Costa Mesa. So we hucked it all the way from Anaheim to Costa Mesa, and we got to this old this business park with all these warehouses and office buildings, and we walk up to the door. The address that was on the sign that said we've moved here, and it was black, but in the back you could see a glimmer of light, and you could just hear people talking. So if I was left to my own devices, that's a situation where I'd be like, all right, I'm going to leave because it's closed or there's something weird going on here. But Adam was like, no, let's go in and just check it out. The door's open. What's the worst that happen? So we went in, and in the back, this dude named Chris Barub had built this awesome black box theater in the back of this mattress warehouse. So he was putting together an inaugural sketch comedy troupe. This is the Evil Dead Rises review that Vince gave, where it's you're looking for highlights and I'm just giving you the complete origin. So long story short, it wasn't zoned correctly. There wasn't supposed to be a theater in this business park. So he had a theater out in LA called the Second Stage, I think, off La Brea. So he moved us out there. We went, and he knew I was a massive Pee-wee, as you can see, a massive Pee-wee's Big Adventure and a massive Paul Rubens fan. So he actually knew, he used to tour with the Second City. So he knew all these comedians. That was one of the coolest things, is I would just, hey, did you know this person? He's like, oh yeah, I did this show, blah, blah, blah. Don't know if they were all true, which is a story for another time. If you talk to my buddy Kirk, they weren't. But he knew Paul Rubens, and he said that Paul Rubens would randomly just show up around Christmas time back in the day, and he would just have in hand the weirdest gift that he could possibly give you, and that was his way of showing that that he loved
That
you or
checks
whatever.
out, dude.
Totally checks out. I totally believe it. And it was such a weird thing, but he said that so before we moved the theaters out to LA, he told me, he goes, "Oh yeah, I have this painting that Paul Rubens gave me of Dr. Spock, and it's one of the weirdest like things that I've ever seen." And so when we moved to the theater out in LA, he gave it to me. I came in one day and he goes, "Hey, this is the thing I was telling you about." I was like, "Oh my god!" I held it with reverence, and he goes, "Yeah, you can have it." So it was like a really cool gift for me, because it gave me just enough information that I could really fantasize about the story behind of it, and it's such
Yeah.
a weird. That's a great point, dude. I forgot about that. Sarah took it and put it in her office at work and would have people coming in all the time like, "What's the story behind this thing?" So she would tell them that long-winded story. But yeah, I don't know, there's just something cool to me about old like photos, and that one, the clown, which is how we started this. The clown, I don't know, just like it broke my heart that somebody was going to get rid of that. So I'm like, all right, I'll keep it.
You gave it a new home, and now it's famous.
I did. Hey, so something fun. Dave and I'm sorry, Penner. I don't know, what are we going with, first names or last names? I can never keep up.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
I don't
just
know
gonna
what
call
our
you,
branding is, but call me whatever you want.
I'm just gonna call you
And
Pendragon.
everybody too, we're just kind of like shooting the shit, everybody. So yeah, we want to hear if you guys have any comments, or you want to tell Eli he's telling boring stories. Go
Yeah.
for it in the chat. We got Dane up in here. We got Peachtree. We got what else we got? We got Once Upon a Time in a Land going on. So yeah, guys.
Yeah, so Dave and I got to go to the natural history. We paid money like everybody else. I got to go to the Natural History Museum.
It turns out you can go to most places if you pay the money. I didn't
Crazy.
realize that.
It's almost like big metropolitan cities run off money. Who would have thought? But yeah, so like I actually wanted to ask you, because I had never been to the Natural History Museum. There's also the Science Center that is right next door with that awesome IMAX screen. But I had never been to the Natural History Museum. What was your impression of said museum?
All I care about is dinosaurs, pretty much. That's my sole purpose in life. So I was pretty stoked, dude. They have they have an amazing dinosaur fossil exhibit. So I was stoked, dude. I mean, in the chat, if you guys want to say what your favorite dinosaur is, I'm very passionate about Stegosaurus.
It's actually Pachyosaurus, the ones with like the helmet on their head that they just ram everything and destroy it. I always love those. And they're meat eater, and they're herbivores. So
they like just do that for hours. They just run into each other.
Yeah, it's
kind of
actually
like goats, I guess, do that too.
It's actually a prehistoric sport, and it's the dinosaur version of Quidditch. So they all get together. They all have their teams that they have a big World Cup of headbutting, and everybody gathers together. It's a big yearly thing. Yeah, I enjoyed the Natural History Museum. I thought that was a lot of fun. I was expecting more food inside, though. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they're really missing out on.
Yeah, I feel like your 3-year-old daughter was there, and she lasted a solid 10 minutes before she wanted some snackies, and I feel like it was kind of you were the one that wanted the snackies, but you were kind of using your daughter as a way to get it.
Dude,
not to put you on the spot.
There's so many age inappropriate snackies that if I was just to eat a cup of goldfish, then everybody would look at me and be like, "Who's this guy?"
you just pull it out. You're like,
oh, dude, there's the dad tax, which is like you ask me to get you a snack, that's fine. You're going to be missing 5 pieces of that snack because I'm going to be taking them. I think it's a good lesson just on like, this is how the government is going to screw you throughout your entire life. You're going to want a service.
20% of it is mine.
Yeah, but then they'll take your, whatever your tax was and use it for their
so
own gains.
I get a handful. Half those I'm going to dump on the floor. The other half I'm going to eat.
Yeah, 100%. But like it really could have used a Pizza Hut. It could have used a, also
I paid $8, I think, for a squeeze juice. A small squeeze juice bottle. That was nice.
It's like, who's squeezing that juice? Like, that's the question. You're paying $8 for who's squeezing it?
They import it from Sicily, I think.
Oh, that's different. So you gotta steal then, dude. That was a big deal. But
Peachtree says, just got back from DC. Free museums, no money needed. That's true. A lot of them are free. Natural History Museum is where my junior prom was. And speaking of Quidditch, I'm 80% done with the Hogwarts game. That third trial, all black and white, so cool. Whoa,
Dude.
spoilers,
Dude,
dude.
the land of the dead, dude. It's crazy. Peachtree.
I didn't quite get to that point.
It only gets crazier from here, Peachtree. So you definitely need to keep playing because you get to determine the future of the wizarding world, which is great. I think the consequences of that are awesome. And yeah, but I never saw you having your prom at the Natural History Museum. That was how do you, how do you when we were kids, when you twerked, it was called freaking, and like it was always like the administration was always like, we're gonna come on the PA midway through the dance. Remember, there's no freaking, but it was like a 60-year-old white woman that was like, "There's now just remember, there's no freaking here." It's like this is a public school, dude.
They're trying to get with the lingo.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. You can't really freak with dinosaur bones around, can you? Maybe you can. Maybe
That's
the
the best kind of freaking, dude.
That's true.
Producer
That's
Vince
true.
here.
I'm being short-sighted.
I was trying to sing like Dave
Hey,
did
Producer
in the
Vince.
intro. First off, I forgot all about freaking, dude. And you just said
I
that.
forgot it was called freaking, too.
Dude, I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, I completely. And no freak dancing. And dude, flashback, sorry. And then also, I was at.
Which is.
You made.
No, go ahead.
I was at
I didn't know you were gonna
Peachtree's
continue. I wanna hear
prom
this.
in the museum. I was there.
Nice.
With a different girl, but it was in a museum, and I was freaking out the whole time because I've never been there. So I was just checking out all the shit in the museum, and I was pissed that it was closed because there was a prom going on.
You were there. So it wasn't your prom. You were you were just there.
So I dated a
I
different
love
girl
that the junior
went.
prom got in the way of your education, Vince.
It did, dude. I was like, wait, they got bones here? I'm not freak dancing.
They got bones.
They got bones.
They got
When you freak
when
dance
you freak-
with your boner.
By the way, the administration, like willingly calling it freaking, they kind of gave like their stamp of approval on
They
freaking just by
endorsed it,
engaging. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Sure, dude.
they put their stamp of approval on it. But yeah, fun times. A lot of bones, a lot of natural history. Who knew that's what?
Although I also am a space guy, I was excited because I thought they had a space exhibit, but
Yeah.
I guess that's in the Discovery Science Center.
Yeah, they need to post a sign that just says there's no space in here. It's all dinosaurs.
We don't have any space.
We can't account for the natural history of outer space. And I guess it's in the title, I guess we should have known that was the case. But yeah, fun times. But I had quite an interesting weekend. It's been super gloomy around Southern California. What feels for like the last 2 months, if it's not sprinkling and raining, then it's
June gloom, dude.
But I don't remember it this pronounced. I remember June gloom like here and there, but this year, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I have a toddler that you have to find things to go and take them to do, or they'll just like turn the house upside down. But not having the nice warm weather has kind of been a hindrance. So we decided that we were going to go to a theme park. And in said theme park, there is a water play area. Now I bring this to your guys' attention because look, Dave, you're very close to being a parent. Vince, I'm sure you're not far off, but when you're a parent, you see weird stuff. And obviously that's with your kid, but a lot of time, sorry, not to scare you, Vince. Sorry about that. Let's go back and talk about your junior prom. But you see stuff, the most weird, the most weird stuff that you see is from other kids, right? And we live in a society where it's like, you better not say anything to those other kids, but there's always the one kid that doesn't have any supervision and is left to his own devices, which, hey, Godspeed, whatever your method is. But there was a water play area that my daughter was playing in, and they had water jets that were shooting straight up in the air. Now, I'm not saying these water jets were, fire hose level, but I am saying that if you had information that you needed to extract from me and I wasn't willing to give it, and you gave me the option of like, well, we're going to make you sit on this water jet, I'd be like, nah, let's avoid that. I'll give you the information. I don't want to have to go through this.
Bro, we can't do waterboarding anymore, so we're just
Yeah.
going straight to water spurting.
Yeah. And so this one kid who was like bigger than the rest of the kids, he kept standing over the water jet so it hit him directly in the butt. And he kept doing it. He would go around to all the water jets. And he finally got to the point of where he would just sit directly on the water jet. And I mean, this thing is pumping, right? Like a lot of people get colonics and pay good money. And this kid was just like, I'm here, like, let's use this chlorinated water to clean up. And I don't know. I was sitting there, and then as a parent, you're like, oh man, kids are social learners. I really hope that my daughter doesn't see what this kid's doing, because then it forces me into a situation where I have to have the conversation of, like, this isn't where we don't hygiene clean ourselves. We don't clean up, hygiene something that we leave at home. And I just kept waiting for a parent to step in and go, hey, Billy, this isn't the place. Let's do this back at the, our hotel's pretty high end. Use the bidet back there.
Yeah. He's like, you ever crank the bidet up to 11?
Dude, and it's just like, can you imagine, like, I just picture him like right before they leave the hotel for the day, he says that to their dad as they're walking out. Dude. And the dad's just like, what? And then they get to the theme park, and it's like, your kid doesn't want to go on the rides. He wants to sit on the water jets and make an example out of himself. And it's tough. So of course my daughter sees this, the other kids see it, they start emulating it. So then I'm like, oh, damn. Like, now I'm stressed out, because I'm like, I don't, like, how do I go about this? This is never something they tell you, like, hey, one day you're going to have to tell your daughter not to sit on the water jets like the other kids are doing. And so then I was like, oh, no, this is an opportunity, because I can indirectly, like, not yell at her, but I can let her know, like, this isn't we don't do that. That's disgusting. Don't do that here. But I'm really communicating it to that kid and that kid's parents in an indirect way. And then I'm just like, who am I at this point in my life? Like, is this something that I even need to engage in? But it was just disgusting. And I'm interested to know what your guys' perspective is on, we're at all different, I feel like, levels of parenthood. Vince, not,
Hey, dude, I'm a cat dad.
So basically, you were like passive aggressively parenting someone else's kid.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, hey, no, we don't do that here, okay? There's a time and place to clean up, and it's behind closed doors. It's not in the middle of one of the biggest theme parks in Southern California, okay?
I just picture him going up to Callie and being like, this is all fun, huh? Water? It's really great. Hey, but have you tried it up your ass yet? You have not lived, girl?
I mean, that is the conversation that would have happened if I let this kid get anywhere near.
And then the parents are like, hey, you trying to teach my kid about not to squirt water up his ass?
Like, no. I'm giving, friendly advice that take it back to the hotel. All right. Nobody wants to see.
He can do it if he wants to.
My kid's free. Okay.
Dude,
like,
I imagine you looking
that's
at
fair.
the kid and being like, where's the parent? And then you scan over and there's just a 50-year-old guy just
God.
just strutting it. He's all, this is how you do it, boy.
He's like, yeah, you get that, boy.
Yeah, it's like it turns into like the father and son like bonding moment that I didn't expect to have.
Wasn't that a part in Billy Madison too? Isn't there a part towards the end where one of the characters is sitting on a sprinkler head just giggling?
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen Billy Madison. I think it was. But that tracks.
It tracks too. I think it might have been.
Maybe it's the kids like practicing a comedy routine or something. He's just going. He's just kind of seeing how other kids react to it, how their parents react to it.
Well, his vibe was, I'm on a beach and I've got a margarita in my hand and I'm just gonna relax and enjoy this, which is fine. Like, again, it's fine. Like, if take a shower in the middle of a theme park, whatever, with chlorinated water, shoot chlorinated water directly up your butt. I just feel like, our generation is failing these young kids and letting them go to theme parks and just think that's where you deal all your stuff out. We all paid. Okay. We all paid to be here. Let's not make things weird.
I think you're just using the theme park incorrectly, dude. That kid's only 7 or 8 and he's already mastered it.
Yeah.
So you're going there and not getting your ass cleaned. Is that correct?
You might be missing out. Maybe you're just mad that you've missed out all these years and you didn't think of it first.
Maybe, but I feel like it should be, if that's the thing, it should be spelled out on the ticket, even maybe an add-on to your day's experience. Like, oh, you get front of the line passes, but you also get to spray water jets up your butt over in the kids' play area.
Dude, hear me out. Dole Whip option? Would you pay extra?
When you say Dole Whip option.
Yeah. You have to explain what that means.
Oh, you know what I mean.
You talking about a water jet that sprays Dole Whip up your butt? I'm
dude,
absolutely out.
Yeah. Oh, you're out.
Dude, look how excited he got. He's like, yeah, you agree with me? We're both deviants.
Oh, you're out.
Oh, you're out.
Vince, I support your water jet habit. You're a consenting adult. You can do
Wait,
what you want.
but
I'm
what
saying-
kind? Because there's two parts to a Dole Whip. It's the pineapple juice and the pineapple ice cream. So which part are they spraying out?
Depends on what you pay
Pineapple
for,
juice?
Dane or Dave.
Dane or Dane?
Dane or
What does
Dane?
Dane or Dane think
Vince
about
is
that?
letting the chat just like,
Dude.
really invade this.
So
this
I kind of have a
conversation.
personal story that kind of aligns with this, but it's a little embarrassing. But I've already confessed to stealing
Do it.
Pokemon cards, so I do have a memory when I
Yeah,
was
you're
pretty
halfway
young.
there.
Oh, dude, I do have a memory pretty young where I remember having like, do you remember those old school kids chairs that were like the thinnest plastic? I think I had a Ninja Turtles one, and they were always
Yeah.
broken. And
Yeah,
they
sat
always
in one
stabbed
last
you.
week.
Dude. So I'm sitting on one with a sprinkler directly below it because it's like 97 degrees outside. So I'm pretty much the sprinkler butt kid, but I'm sitting there in this thing and it's going.
You're such a sprinkler butt kid.
I'm a sprinkler butt kid, but it's going where it has like the stream like this. So my chair is over it. So it's doing that all around me and I feel like a fucking mermaid. And the whole time there's kids in our backyard. There's like a waterway. And then there was like the really bad neighborhood that I was never allowed to go into. All the kids in the really bad neighborhood saw Mermaid Vince just sitting there enjoying his day, and they started throwing rocks at me. And I remember sitting there just having rocks, thump, 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 and I just start calling my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, come here!" And I sat there for maybe 15 minutes because no one was coming, and I thought it was a fun game because they weren't hitting me. And I was like, "Oh, they're trying to hit me. This is so fun!" And then finally, one rock hit me right in the chest, and I went from like 15 minutes of joy to instant terror. I don't know why I shared that story, but
Well, okay. So you said that the sprinkler like it's sprayed like a fan, right?
yeah,
Like a
and I was
fan
sitting
underneath you.
on a chair directly above it, which made me.
Oh,
think
that's
of this
different
story.
than what I'm talking about. You're not
it
taking
wasn't
a girthy
in-
water jet right into your butt.
No,
that's
no.
that's different.
It's
What I'm talking about was, if you were gonna rate it, it would have been probably rated R. And obviously, this kid
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
trying to do anything weird that I know of, but he was definitely trying to clean some stuff that maybe hadn't been cleaned in a while. And that's my only point is like, see what those kids did is they sent you a service. They let you know like, hey, what you're doing right now, go in your house and do it. You don't do it right here, and if you do, you're gonna get rocks thrown at
Dude.
you. You know,
For 15 minutes.
15
for
minutes,
and you're gonna.
And if you call your mom to come help you, she's not going to come.
she's not going to do
we're
it.
gonna curb
My
stomp
mom.
you
Where
later.
was my mom? But yeah, it was just instant regret due to a rock to the chest, and it wasn't fun anymore. But your story made me think about that. But no, I didn't have a
That's a lot of
direct.
persistence to throw rocks at
It
someone
is,
for
dude.
15 minutes. I mean, that's also a lot of rocks. I don't know where they're getting
It's,
them, but
they were in an alleyway.
Yeah,
there were a
you
lot of
must
rocks.
have been a hard target to hit, dude.
Dude, it was the water. I think the water was kind of pushing the rocks away.
it kind of makes me want to be the one to raise the weird kid. The kid that's going to just, I don't know, be that kid to just push the social norms. Maybe what I can do is have a kid that is like, because you were saying like they're social learners. It like makes me want to have a kid and just like teach them just completely weird things, but normalize it.
Yeah. Well, good luck in like 20 years where that pays dividends. That's you're
It's just a
like,
fun
Eventually,
hobby.
they'll know that something was up, and they'll be like, "What? Why did we do that?" And then I'll just deny everything.
Yeah. You're like that never happened. I was
Well,
as your
I would
father. I
not
would have
do
stood
that.
for that.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but
you
it's
can
just
get away.
interesting. It's interesting what bleeds over from other kids to your kids, and then it's like, well, at what point do you go like, let's not do that. Let's not copy the lowest common denominator here at at the splash pad.
Kid's way below you.
Yeah.
Don't look at that kid.
That kid's gonna be working for you one day. Okay.
That kid is the Vince of the group. You don't want to.
Oh, come
That kid-
on.
Throw a rock at him.
I'm
okay?
just kidding. You're not the lowest common denominator, Vince.
Throw a rock at him.
Don't
Okay. For
backpedal.
14 minutes, he'll enjoy it. But then when
Throw
you
a
hit
rock.
him once, he's gonna
Dave
go
was
get his
one of
mom.
those rockets.
Throw another rock. Throw 15 more rocks.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like that's like a weird Lord of the Flies thing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
remember in Lord of the Flies where they stoned that kid to death?
yeah.
Yeah, and I was the chubby
So
kid that
it's
I
so
think
primal, dude.
really brought
In
some
a
stuff
lot of
back.
ways, I think society would be better if we applied more. Lord of the Flies type.
More if we brought
Yeah. More
stoning
stones.
back.
Just stoning, conches. So that you knew that you weren't supposed to talk unless you had the conch. That's very important, and something that kids just don't understand these days. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I got to talk to Vince and Dave about this because, it just doesn't seem right. So I appreciate you guys just confirming that my instincts were correct 100%. And there's nothing I could have done different.
No, it seems like you are a flawless parent, dude.
Obviously,
even for other people's kids.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes an indirect parental, guidance is necessary.
That kid's going to look back, I think, for the next 20 years, and he's going to remember, and he's going to be like, that one guy is going to be disappointed in me.
Every time he sees
every time he sees
a
water
jet and he's like, his mouth starts watering, he'll go, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm a 35-year-old man. I can't do this here.
I can't do this anymore. It's inappropriate.
Yeah, so it's always fun. It's always fun having to deal with other kids that aren't yours, and then what role you play in that. But yeah, good times, man. Good times. And honestly, just water playgrounds or water parks are just disgusting anyway. So
I remember me and you went one time like 8 years ago, just randomly just went to a water park, and I hadn't been in one in like 10 years, and it was kind of fun because I felt like we just didn't belong there, but it was awesome.
We were also like 25. Like this wasn't a thing we did when we were kids. Like we were
25 there with like young teenagers and like families, and we were like the only ones in our 20s.
And it was packed. That's what I remember.
Dude, yeah.
It was just crazy busy, and it was really hot. So it was the right place to be. It makes sense. All things add up to why it would be packed. But I used to love, man, when I was a kid, I loved water parks, and I still do. We went to Soak City a couple weeks ago. They're fun, but they are. My wife got sick from a water park, really sick once, and so her whole thing with water parks is like, no, we can't do it. And I'm like, well, you went to a water park in Fresno, where their like filtration system is just some guy with a net, so it's not it's not like the heavy duty stuff. It's not Cedar Fair,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's enough about water parks. I guess I've said all I've said about what needed to say about water parks.
I forgot about water parks. I forgot about freaking. There's a lot of things that
I think freaking needs to make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean twerking, that's fine, but let's go back to freaking, man. When you talk about freaking, you know what's up.
Freaking is just it is the thing that lets you know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like freaking it covers a whole range of emotions.
I was at the a dog park. I took my dog over there, and I was just gonna tell you. I don't think I've told you this too, but it's like, usually, you throw tennis balls as you do at dog parks, and there was one point where like I threw it like as far as I could. It's a pretty big dog park. I just like chucked it like as hard as I could to like just really, really give her some good runs. And I like nailed this guy in the head, like dead on, dude, like absolutely dead on. Like as it was sailing, I was like, no, it's not gonna, no. Oh God, it's totally gonna hit. And it bounces off this dude. And he's this huge burly dude with all these like tats and everything, dude. And I'm just like, what do I do? Like, do I say sorry? He's like really far away. Like, how do I just walk away and pretend it wasn't me? I don't know. But he like turned around and started looking, dude, like for who did. He was like, and I just kind of like put my hand up. I'm like, sorry.
Oh, it was me. I'm here too.
It looked like he like borderline might have gotten a concussion because it got so much speed, dude. But he like, and then he was just super cool. Like as soon as I like waved at him, he was all, oh, and then just kind of like walked off. But like, what was messed up is I couldn't help but laugh, dude. I was just laughing like the whole time.
Of course, and that's
like,
just in his case. It's like you're probably instantly angry, right? Because you're not expecting it, and the first thing that
you get a jolt of pain on your head.
And you instantly, your brain goes into somebody did this on purpose.
Fight or flight.
They're making a joke out of me. And then when you turn and somebody's like, sorry, dog park. That's the only. Yeah. And then it is funny. It has to be funny. Isn't it weird too when you hit somebody with something, how you can see it come? Like you see it coming as soon as you throw the ball, your brain goes, oh damn, the trajectory of this is probably going to hit somebody in the face. And it's almost like a magnet that's going to like just clock them right in the dome, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it was just the best throw of my life, and there was no one else around. So I don't know. I guess I'm proud of it, but
Dude, I had a
was amazing.
similar experience a couple weeks ago, but I actually hit a kid on a bike with my car. And I don't think I've talked
We'll
to you
delete
guys
this
about
from
this.
this show.
So let me just start.
that's
by
not at all the same thing. I just
well,
I just
well, we
wanna
had
put that
It's
out
like me
there.
and the sprinklers all
where-
over again.
Those are fully different.
where it is similar is we had the same reaction as you did. I just waved and smiled and said, sorry while I was laughing, and he was like, "Yeah, it's cool." No, he's all, it's cool. He wiped the blood away from his lips, and then he started laughing. He's like, "Oh, that was a pretty good goof on your part." But I'm coming around. There's like two different shopping centers, right? And in between the shopping center is a roadway. Well, there's a freaking UPS van parked in the fire zone, completely creating a blind spot for anything coming around the corner. So I'm like rolling through, and all of a sudden I hear, and this kid on a bike just turns the corner and just nails the front of my car. Like it was like a Starsky and Hutch, like, you know, when like in a movie or TV they hit a car and they go up your hood and then roll back off kind of, or off to the side. It was like that. And it was so shocking that it was like a very similar thing where it's like it all happened in slow motion, and I slammed on the brakes and I instantly put my car in park and hopped out. And it was like a 10-year-old kid. And
Okay,
I was
so
just
technically he hit you.
100%.
Yeah, you
And
got to phrase that different, my man.
Just to put that on record.
he also destroyed my bumper, right? Because he was a hard-headed kid.
Did you sue him for that?
I sued his dad, and now I just saw his dad on the street, and I was like, "Hey, was it worth it? Was it worth it?"
Now they're
There's some
bathing
water
in
jets over
fountains.
there. You guys should go check them out.
You're all thanks for the bumper.
Yeah. So anyway, I get out of my car, and I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" And this poor kid is like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's this asshole in the UPS van. It's not like your fault. Like, I'm not mad." And he's just like profusely apologizing to me. So at that point, I'm like, okay, my role here is I don't care about my car. My car's a 2013. It's a piece of junk. The only reason I'm still driving is because
He's on the ground. He's all, I'm sorry.
He's like, I don't need to hear about your car and all the work you've had done on it. I can't. My femur's shattered,
You
dude.
should probably get to the hospital first.
I'm like, look, I don't care about the body kit. They rebuilt the engine, so I'm driving into the ground.
Y'all, really, it's the principle that is the one that's making me sad right now.
I didn't know when thought I was driving into the ground that it was actually you were the ground. So I'm sorry about that. But he was like, so dude, his knee. So anyway, long story short, that happened. He gets up, he's okay. And I drive off and I'm just like, what the hell? So then it like dawns on me, like, you should probably like go check that this kid didn't drive away and then instantly fall over, you know, on the ground or whatever. So I went back and checked, but dude, it was so bizarre. And it happened so fast that I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, I felt bad for the kid, but I felt worse that he was he thought I was going to get out of his car and beat the crap out of him for hitting my car. And I'm just like, dude, look at my bumper. You're fine. You're good. I just want to make sure you can walk after this. So
you're like, we're in California. Pedestrians have the right of way. So
yeah. I'm all, look, what we should do is team up and go beat the hell out of this UPS driver and steal all of his boxes. But, you know,
yeah. So really what you're saying is it's UPS's fault that this
100%
actually happened.
I mean,
Maybe that's who you should sue.
Don't park in the fire lane, dude. And then I went back and checked and it said loading zone. So actually he didn't do anything wrong. But you know, that kid's walking with a limp. So
Dude, I have an idea. Hear me out.
Sure.
That I think would revolutionize everything, and that's if we just turned all our cars into bumper cars, dude. If we just put padding around just the entire thing, then you could just hit people all day long. People could hit each other, and it'd be fun. You'd be like sitting at a stoplight. You'd be like, oh, okay, this is fine. And then someone hits you. You're like, oh, and then you're mad at first, and then you look back and you're like, you got me.
Dude, it's the same application as the dog park hitting a guy in the face with a freaking tennis ball. It's like, at first you're going to be really angry, right? Because you just got whiplash and it hurt really bad. But then seeing the joy and like I was just Josh and it was a total goof. Then you're like, okay, I'm in on the joke. I'm not the joke. Dude, that's a great point. I think you should take this further.
Yeah. I feel like self-driving cars or whatever, but seriously, if they were bumper cars,
well, then what about self-driving?
Maybe bikes could too. Maybe bikes could also have something all around it, so then you could just hit people on bikes too, and then
force fields.
Dave, I don't want to burst your bumper, but I think they already exist, dude.
What?
And I think I've seen them in San Francisco. They have like the bumper bumpers, yeah, where they have a bumper that attaches to your bumper that makes it so it doesn't scratch your paint. And in San Francisco, it's pretty much like your car is going to get dinged. So it's a bumper or a rubber bumper.
Well, but the problem is, if one person's gonna do it, everyone has to do it.
And
or else it's
everyone-
not fun.
yeah,
you have to be able to
invest.
hit anyone at any time.
And also, he's talking about actual bumper cars. Okay, so you need the pole
Okay.
in the back, and you need the little thing that makes contact
The
with the
electricity.
Where's it connected to?
There's no
There's
emission.
a giant magnet that goes all throughout the city. Actually, that's pretty awesome.
There's no emissions. There's nobody at risk. Like, yeah, drive drunk. Okay, do it. What's going to be the
Yeah,
consequence?
dude, it's full electric. Yeah,
So what?
Everyone's
You're going to
just
hit
drunk?
somebody, and you're going to have more fun and more to laugh about.
you're gonna
Why?
hit a pedestrian, and they're gonna be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you got me."
Like, imagine that
That was
interaction
fun.
with that kid after I destroyed both of his patellas. Like, imagine if I was just like, it didn't hurt, right? Because we're in bumper cars, you know. But
That's what you say to everything.
Yeah.
We're in bumper cars.
yeah, there'd be. I mean, the consequences there would be none. And that's such a good idea. I think we need to get moving on the I guarantee you this is something Elon Musk. If we were like, we'll make a Tesla bumper car, he'd be like, yeah, yeah, good, yeah. And it just had like
Yeah, just
chaos.
add it.
It has chaos mode. You know how like Teslas have the stupid stuff that like fart mode and like dance mode and all this stuff? It would be chaos mode or rampage mode, and you would just drive across the freeway just intentionally bashing into people, and
Yeah,
it's a joke.
I mean, we can compromise. Maybe what if it's like a switch where you can turn it on or off? That
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
like if you turn yours on, then you can see anyone else that also turned theirs on, and then you can just like it
Ooh.
spots them out, and then you could just be like, oh, like it's like in Diablo 2 PvP. Like if you turn it on,
It's on.
oh, like it's on, dude. Like anybody can gank you.
So
Well,
could that
I don't know
save?
what any of that means, but I do know that I think that's a great idea, and I do think like we're talking about the future, right? Not so distant future. I can see a bumper car on my street within the next year and a half, but I think like,
And they're electric, dude.
but they would communicate. The cars would communicate, so the car would know like, oh, Gary over there in the fast lane, he needs a little bump, and he's into it. Done.
Gary's asking for a bumping, dude. It would
Gary's
solve
bumping
road
dude.
rage for sure. Like you fucking get pissed off and you turn it on, and you're like, let's fucking bump, dude.
Gary's just in his bumper car, like, oh, who's gonna get me?
Well, Gary, put your
And it
pants on, or
keeps,
I'm
like,
not
stats
bumping
of,
you.
like how many times you've been bumped.
It's all. Have you?
You've been bumped today?
How many? What's more, the times you've been bumped, or that you've done the bumping? You've been the bumper.
Nobody wants to be the bumper, dude.
Your
Or
bumping
the
ratio?
bumpy.
No,
What's your bump ratio?
you're right. Everybody wants to be the bumper. Nobody wants to be the bumpy. Especially like if there's people watching you that you know, and then you just get wrecked.
I'd be
And
the
then it's
fucking
like this,
bumpy,
like, you know,
and I'm
it's
pissed.
just, yeah.
Well, I don't know. The chat isn't saying anything about that, so maybe,
I think we lost
maybe
them,
they
dude.
don't. Maybe they don't like my idea. That's okay.
We still have 7
Hey,
people here.
Chat.
but-
Why don't you? What do you guys think of Dave's idea for bumper cars on the road? I think it solves a lot of problems. I think it saves a lot of lives. I think it honestly helps every aspect of society because there's no emissions, right?
Yeah.
There's no more need for gasoline, which is what everybody is like trying to force. This is a natural solution. We'd let the market decide.
It gives
can
you a
soup-
mission, not a mission.
and you can soup up your bumper car. The only thing is you'd have to wear a helmet, but I think I'm okay with that.
I don't know. All right, hey chat. If you like my idea a lot, don't say anything.
Paige already ruined it.
I think
You
they
got
really
100%.
like it, dude.
Oh, here we
They all
go.
like it.
What about instead of cars? I was going to say, what about instead of cars, we were in those big, like, hamster ball things? Just go where you will with that. So she wants to go like Bubble Boy? I feel
Could they
like
also generate energy from it, like a windmill,
Yeah, I don't want to have to do the work.
like a
I
hamster
don't.
wheel?
I don't want to have to use my arms or legs to propel it at all. That's the only thing.
also, I
And-
don't
and
know.
Bumper cars are electronic, so
Are you guys using cars for the same? Like, I'm getting to work, and you guys have a lot of like side things you're doing in your car. I don't think a bubble is going to be the best to get to work in, especially in the morning when I'm half asleep. And then bumper cars as well. You imagine trying to get to work with your coffee and you accidentally enable bumper mode, and
well, that's on you.
Well, imagine if you're
It will
late for
happen.
work and then you're like, I could really use
A bump.
something to make me accelerate faster, and then someone slams them back at you, and you go flying. Then you're on time for work.
And then
That's
you're like,
true.
same time tomorrow, Pete. And then you roll into work, and you're like, sorry, I'm late. I got bumped. Oh, you wouldn't believe the
Dude.
bumping out there.
I got
It's
hardcore
crazy.
bumps.
I just have a neck brace.
What-
Well, hey guys.
Yeah. Just missing a tooth. Just all that fun stuff. Man, I think we just solved everything again.
And things would be like the world would be so much more joyful. That's the main thing.
Yes.
Peachtree says, I was gonna say, what if instead of cars we were in those big like hamster? Oh, okay. Vince already said that. Oh, so you stole Peachtree's idea, Vince.
No, I read her.
hey,
I read it.
She said, just go where you will with that.
Hey, Peacher. Peach, question for you. Are we talking like an actual hamster ball that like you got a hand over hand? Okay, well, actually, before I keep going, she just wrote more. Well, in my head, I'm picturing those hamster ball things, but with wheels. But then why would you need the hamster ball? And then still bumper cars, and if you run into each other, you go flying through the air and get to your destination faster, so you technically want to get bumped.
So it's kind of like my idea, but you're kind of combining.
Her
hamster
bump
reels
ratio
and
is
bumper
off
cars.
though, because she's only getting bumped.
Well, some people only want to be
that might be a 5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, you can't go 5-to-1 bump ratio.
Well, that's what they would ask you when you try to get insurance on your bumper car. It's like, what's your bump ratio here?
They're all, ooh, you got to bump
How
those
often
numbers
do you
up.
bump versus do you get bumped? That's important.
Well, how many times do you get bumped per day?
Look, I don't know if I'm just bad luck or what, but I get bumped an awful lot, and I'm tired of it. So here's another one for the chat. Have you guys ever run into like an actual paranormal investigator in real life? Like somebody whose job...
No, they exist?
Dude, I thought that they were only used as like fodder for reality TV shows. But I talked to a guy over the weekend that... See, and here's my thing. Paranormal investigators, whatever. I don't know. Are there some people that can pick up on energies and auras and weird stuff that other people can't see? Sure. And then you got genetic echoing at play, which is just, everything all around us all at once, like the movie.
I didn't know they called themselves that.
Dude,
I know.
they're PIs. Okay, so now you're trying to commandeer a PI. If somebody came to me and was like, "Oh, my PI," I'd be like, "Oh, they got a private investigator." But now I have to worry about like, "Oh no, they hired a paranormal investigator, and they're trying to investigate my stuff." So I don't have a problem so much with the occupation of paranormal. If you want to dupe people into believing that you can come into their house and be like, "Oh yeah, this old miner that used to live here, but his spirit, he can't get free," whatever. But the problem I had with it was just that they were trying to paint themselves as like law enforcement or like a detective, and like the guy was saying like cops investigate physical science of crimes, detectives investigate the physical science, paranormal investigators investigate the science of the unseen. And I don't know, man. I just had a problem with that. What way is that? What is that?
How many times have they had to say that spiel in order to try to get people to like respect it?
Well, how many times have they used it at like a mixer to get laid, right? Because that's the vibe I got where I'm like, well, I'm not going to hire you. Like,
Girl, this is speed dating. Hang on, let me give you the talk.
I'm like,
He's
I
on
gotta
a
get my car
PI.
and get bumping. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to take this long.
Wait, first of all, let me do like, where did you run into this person?
Dude, it was on the same theme park. It was on the tram. I started making small talk with this guy. First of all, you think of a paranormal activity.
Was he
I'm
really
thinking,
even there?
like, I think this guy, maybe not. That's a good question. But I'm thinking like a paranormal investigator, you'd be wearing a black turtleneck, right? You'd be looking the part. You'd probably have hand tats.
You got to have a trench coat, dude.
You'd have an Aleister Crowley, like, quote tattooed on your neck, do as thou will or whatever he said. But this guy was like this guy looked like a banker, right? He didn't look like somebody that was like, I reach into the nether realms and I communicate with the dead and I let them know what they're saying. I walk between two worlds. This guy was like presenting it to me as if like he was some kind of a law enforcement agent. And I'm just like, wouldn't it make more sense if you're trying to get me, number one, where's your business card? I didn't see that shit. So you're off to, the wrong foot already. But why wouldn't you be like, hey, I'm a paranormal investigator. And as soon as you walked on this boat, there's a dark energy that's attached to your soul that I instantly recognized as, somebody from your past that is hanging on to you. And I don't know, have you sensed like in the last few days, like you've been having like a rough time or negative energy, well, that's this guy, and I can read him, and here's my card, call me.
And
be
he
like,
just
damn,
gives you an
Just
invoice.
goes for it.
well, then I'm walking around for the rest of my life until I call this guy, going like, there's a dark energy I can't see.
He has
that's
to
attached
give you.
himself to me.
He only has to tell you the beginning of it for free. He has to be like, "There's a dark entity that wants to fuck you up," and then just be like, "It's cool. You can deal with it or not. It's gonna cost. I'll tell you who it is."
You know why? You know what selling point that is? What tactic that is? That's like when your cat or dog is looking concerned as hell, but they're looking right, like slightly past you, like as if there's something going on that they see that you can't. That's the thing. It's like the whole like, well, paranormal investigating is the science of the unseen. It's like, that's not science. That's just that there's no like, what? Like, are you talking about magnetic fields?
Maybe magic is just science that we can't perceive of yet.
But he's not talking about magic. He's talking about like, oh, I can see footprints that you can't. Let's, or like, I don't know, maybe on the back of this tram bus, he's like, you have a dark energy and we need to do a seance right now. So here's my candle. And I'm just like, wait, it's like the thing in like Jamaica when you go to those huts and they're like, oh, what's your name? And you're like, oh, my name's Eli. And they start carving it into a souvenir so that you have to buy
Like,
it.
no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get. I didn't.
Like, no. I'll deal with the dark aura on my own. Okay. I have my own ways. I have sage. I have a pastor. Like, I'll deal with this on my own. Okay. But it just, I don't know. It's so weird. I'd never run across a paranormal investigator in real time, in real life.
He's but yeah, you said like he acts like he's like a law enforcement or something. Like he's all I answer to the natural rules of the universe. That's above your petty state laws.
Yeah, it's like what? Yeah, exactly what you just said. It's like, okay, well, what's your jurisdiction? Can you even be investigating paranormal activities here, or do you have to go over to Stanton and do it?
He's all, I'm very important. I put the super in supernatural.
Yeah.
Okay, he's all, I actually just have cat powers. That's really what it comes down to.
But man, I bet this guy makes a quality living off being a PI, dude, being a paranormal investigator.
Dude, I feel like this guy works in fucking accounts payable for some shitty company in the Midwest. He's on vacation with his family. You come on the tram and he's like, "What's up? I'm a PI." And then he's like, "Oh shit, why'd I say that?" And he's, "Oh, okay." And then he just ran with it. And you were all into it, dude. You thought, because you are haunted. I know you are. So you probably found hope in this guy. Meanwhile,
I hope that's not true because I have a consultation for him tomorrow. He's coming by the house, so I hope he's legit. I want to get rid of this dark aura. We'll see. I don't know.
I feel like you have to do it.
I just hope he has a nice pair of divining rods. But what a weird world we live in, dudes. That's hilarious. Like, what jurisdiction? Like, who authorized? Like, are you a member of? Like, did some state authority give you? Like, what keeps me from just walking into a space going, I'm a paranormal private investigator, and it's going to take us some work to get through this and just fleece everybody.
I think you should do it. Do it at Knott's, though, because that guy already has his.
I feel like it's a lifestyle. I wouldn't look like a tax guy. I would grow my hair out. I would just constantly furrow my brow and just walk up to people as if they had a force field around them and present myself in a, paranormal investigator, not in general.
You're all emphasis on private investigator.
Yeah. Are there any water jets over here? No. Okay.
I feel like I would be like, what are you gonna do for me right now? $20.
He's like, but what if he's like, oh, I'll prostitute myself for you for $20? It's like, what? This guy's a jack of all trades, man.
He's all, I'll be anything you want me to be.
I have a question.
He opens a bag and he's got like. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had this conversation. Do you guys believe in spirits?
I don't necessarily believe in spirits in the way that like most people do. I believe that like we walk around in, the science of the unseen. But I think, like there's all kinds of stuff. I'm really like fascinated with the concept of genetic echoing, dude. Because if that's true, then that explains a lot about like what people walk around in, and I think that's. But I don't know. Like I think there are certain people that are able to pick up on stuff that other people can't. I think it's, what's the statistic? We only use 10% of our brains. So like, what if the other 90% was like dealing in like other dimensions or other worlds or and I'm not no like psycho way. Like I think about this, but. I don't know. I don't believe like you're gonna see a ghost from a dead person who's wandering the earth, because then what would the point of like living be? I don't know.
And like what
Did that answer
when
your
would
question?
it did, and I think I'm with you in that. Like it would have to be in my mind someone that is able to see something that exists that other people can't. I can't see it being like a wandering soul that is here in the specific spot, because the world has been around for how long? Why would a ghost be from like the 1905 and not a ghost from fucking 10,000 years ago just smashing an animal's skull on a rock? And like you look
Maybe
over
there
and you're
is,
like,
dude.
Well,
what
this
the
guy on the
fuck?
bus would tell you that that guy you're from 1805 or 1819. There's something here that he left. He didn't have closure on this earth, so he died before he had closure in a certain way. So therefore, his soul is going to keep wandering. But I don't know. I just like, well, if that was the case, like if you had if you could go back and walk around, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's a weird concept. But I will say this: there have been many crimes, many many like murder investigations that have taken place where they use psychics and they've found people and like solved crimes based on that. So
Ooh.
I don't know, so you look at that, and then there's stuff where there's like verifiable proof that like, I that things like that psychic endeavors or psychic intuition has like led, to like real physical results in certain ways. But I don't know, like the concept of like, I feel like if there were ghosts, we would see ghosts all the time, and it wouldn't be a thing of like, oh, this
That's
week
right.
on Unsolved Mysteries, a ghost at the old Howard house. I don't know. In that sense, I guess.
We got some comments
Dave,
in
what do you
here.
think about that? What's your?
Yeah, I want to know what Dave's stance is.
Yeah, well, Peachtree says, I hear other people's conversations in my head all the time. I don't know what that means, Peachtree, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been telling her
AKA,
not
I
to
think
tell
I'm
people that.
psychic, not a crazy person. I mean, I don't know. For real? Maybe elaborate on that. I don't know. Yeah, I want to believe Vince.
Do you want to
I don't know,
believe
dude.
in like spirits and demons and stuff like that, or
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of with Eli. Like, I think that there's things that go on that we can't even perceive. I mean, there's like, there's people that believe in spiritual warfare, like angels and demons fighting in like sort of other dimensions on top of ours that we can't perceive. I don't know. There could be all kinds of stuff. Maybe it's echoes. Maybe they're echoes of like parallel universes that we're next to that like we sort of can periodically see into.
yeah?
I don't know.
Well, or I think it's like, I think people are different, and I think people's brains perceive things differently. So I think if that is true, and that's what I'm fascinated by, is like the concept too of like phobias. Like the reason, like my wife has like a phobia of spiders that will literally, like, she will lock up and her brain will stop working. And like, I don't have that. Like, I don't like spiders,
I
but
think that's just called being a woman.
I'm scared
tell
of
her that.
spiders.
I've tried. She won't listen.
No,
I'm not
don't-
going to tell. I'm not going to tell
Yeah.
her that.
Don't they
But I
say
think,
that's
like,
in
the
genetic
concept of,
code?
like, oh, well, yeah, like the concept of genetic echoing is that like stuff like your phobias and stuff that you have like an unnatural fear for comes from somewhere along your genetic lines. So the theory would be somewhere in Sarah's genetic line, a spider bit one of her ancestors and killed her. So therefore, in genetics, or in like, or even not even like was bit by her, one of her ancestors was bit by a spider and died, but like one of her ancestors lived in a part of the world where spiders killed people, so they had an intense
Yeah,
fear.
to fear them.
And then that just travels down the line, and then you have
It becomes an instinct.
because your genetics are constantly like shifting, and like with generations and with each kid, it's like where you see that like kind of played out is like in identical twins and fraternal twins. Like you talk to people that are twins, there's a psychic connection between them. So if there's a psychic connection between them, and it makes sense, you're literally developing at the early stage of your life, sharing a womb with somebody else, some other sentient being that has a brain. Like, so if that's true for them, why wouldn't it be true for other people? And man, that GIF of the psychedelic mushroom chance and Penner would really go a long way.
Dude,
right
I
now.
know. It crashed
But
our
I just,
shit.
I think the mystery of it is more fascinating than probably what the answer is. So I think like I think that's the cool part of life, is like there are some things I feel like we just won't know, and the pursuit of it is interesting, right? Because it's who we are as humans, to be curious and to look into things. And it's also what makes the world funny, because there's also a lot of idiots out there that believe a lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool thing. I went to the Queen Mary not long ago and stayed overnight there, which is always something that I wanted to do, and it was a lot of fun. But I understood how people can like go to the Queen Mary and be like, I saw a ghost, because one, they play into it. Two, anytime you walk, like the thing that fascinates me is anytime you walk into an old place where there's been a lot of energy, whether it be negative energy or positive energy or neutral energy, it feels, you can feel something. And I think that's what people perceive as like, oh, this is haunted. Like the bar at the Queen Mary was super dope. It was straight out of like 1910. And the Queen Mary served as like a war vessel and a luxury cruise liner. So you had polar ends of the spectrum in terms of like one end you have absolute pleasure, on the other end you have absolute anguish, because they were like literally transporting amputees and people that had been like injured in the war. So like I think when you have a concentration like that, I don't know, man, I think you can kind of feel it. I think it's interesting.
There's also that idea of like the collective unconscious. Carl Jung came up with, where it's like that part of your consciousness that's like you're not aware of, and that like inherently is like you share that consciousness like with other like human beings. And I guess that's kind of like what you're saying too, with like you have all these like instincts that you can't explain.
It's like when someone's staring at you.
Yeah, so
and you're
I
like,
think, I don't know.
You fucking looking at me?
Yeah.
Paige said in the chat, since I was little, I heard voices having conversations, almost like it sounded like back in the day when you'd be on a landline and another call would interfere with yours. I get that at night when I'm going to sleep. Oh, geez. Can you imagine like hearing someone's thoughts in your brain just for a moment?
I would say, but my hunch would be to say that that's your subconscious.
You think so though?
Like,
but like, what if it's,
because I think ultimately,
Yeah.
I do because I think your subconscious is like a dict-a-bird, or like a tape recorder that's constantly, you put all of your shit that your memory doesn't, like that your brain doesn't think is an important memory, you bury it in your subconscious. So I think like that I think that's why like you have vivid dreams where you have full-on adventures in a 6-hour period. Sometimes you can live an entire lifetime and it's all real and tangible. And like, what about those dreams where it's like you have a different life and you wake, I mean, it's kind of like Diviner, Dave, where it's like you have this like really funny experience, or you have this like crazy experience, and you wake up and you're like affected by it. And I don't know, like Paige, I'm sure, maybe you do. Maybe you have maybe you, like in that episode of Saved by the Bell where Screech gets that tooth implant and it picks up radio frequencies. Maybe something like that.
Peachtree, do you go to sleep with like a huge like
Salt
antenna next to you, like connected to your head or anything like that? Because that maybe you're picking up.
she has to cover
signals.
tinfoil on her head so it keeps the voices out.
That could maybe explain it. Yeah.
Paige, there's really good services that churches will do called exorcisms that I don't know, you might want to stop in and see if that's something that interests you.
Yeah. She says, that's an interesting thought. I feel like I'm living but not present a lot of the time because my mind is in 3,000 places at once. So that can make sense that my brain is like catching up on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe especially as you're like passing into like going to sleep. I know that also happens to you where your subconscious is really like taking control of your brain. Ah, that's really interesting though.
I'm just going to say what the doctor said.
Like,
take your medication, Paige.
So how many pills did you get with your lithium subscription or prescription? Was it? I imagine it was a lot. But no, that's all interesting to me, man. It's all a big mystery. But I don't believe in like ghosts and maybe I don't know. That'd be crazy if I experienced that. But I've never experienced anything like that.
But Eli has watched how many episodes of Ghost Hunters, dude?
I've watched a few. All my knowledge is coming.
How many
off
seasons, dude?
The question is how many episodes and how many seasons of Unsolved Mysteries have I watched that deal in the paranormal? That's dude, honestly, that's where I got all that stuff about them solving crimes with psychics, because there's always these like, that like veteran grizzled cop that's like, I don't believe in this hocus pocus. That's like it's like Han Solo in the in the what is it? Force Awakens, when he's like, no, it's real, all of it. Like, it's that kind of a thing where
That's not how the Force works.
It's the follow-up and the sheriff's just shaking. He's all, she did it.
dude, I mean, it's
I believe.
I believe.
He's all now. I'm a
dude,
different
like,
kind of
It's
PI.
the alien stuff, dude. All the alien stuff that's coming out. There's like all these like top military people that are coming out that like
Dude.
you would never expect. And are
Did
like,
you see the Las
isn't that
Vegas
a
shit?
coincidence, dude? Yeah, I've watched all those videos. I read the thing that the I don't know, dude. It all happened around all of these investigations, dude. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird
That's true.
timing, is all I'm saying. This never happens like on
like
a
what to distract from other things or what?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm alluding to, and I don't know, maybe I don't know, like maybe there are, but all of this secrecy, like you hear Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan, and he's like can't say certain things because they're still like he's still afraid people are gonna get him, but this guy comes out, uses his real name, uses like what branch of the government he was with, and then spills all of this information that also coincides with the biggest conspiracy theory that like all of our tech is based on reverse engineered alien technology. Like that's just the answer, and maybe it is as simple as that, and maybe like that it just is a really big coincidence. I don't know, dude. There's just been a lot of shit that's going on in the news lately, a lot of political stuff, a lot of politicians and agencies getting in trouble, or at least the light shined on them in a way that it normally does not. And I just found that interesting because also to the flip side of that, it was announced and nobody really talked about it. So who knows?
But I've been like deep in all of this stuff, and I kind of agree with you, and it kind of makes you kind of question. Sorry, Dave, I'm not
You're
sure if
talking
you had
about
a
water
point.
jets?
I'm talking about water jets. So if you
It
place,
makes you want to get a water jet.
yeah,
Just sit on it.
listen, if you get the hole above the jet before you start it, and then you get the initial push of it,
It's the adrenaline rush.
Yeah, yeah.
That really gets
It-
you.
it's a
What
straight
man,
shot.
you're not an adventurer, dude.
No, all right, back to the UFO stuff. So So I agree with you, and it does make you kind of question things. But if you look at the people that are releasing this stuff, and you look at the actual government agencies' responses to it, the government agencies' responses to it, they're not excited that these things are being released at all. They're redacting so many things. These people that are coming out, like their lives aren't getting better after they kind of like the David Fravor guy. Like a lot of these people that are coming out with these issues that were on the inside and now are kind of spilling the beans. It doesn't seem like the government's excited that they're doing it. And you're kind of talking about how all these other parts of the government are kind of falling off, and there's so many investigations in how everything is just not handled well. I feel like all of the stuff recently coming out and doing all this is because of the crumbling kind of structure that we have currently. And that it's not.
So you're saying because everything is falling apart, they're losing control. And
they don't have control, and it's slowly losing. Yeah, they're slowly losing grip with it. So I think more and more we're going to be getting things out.
They see it as like maybe they're a little bit safer to say it now than maybe before.
Yeah, because there's
so much going on.
Did you see this is another whole thing. Did you see the JP Morgan release from yesterday that they just paid out the lawsuit for $290 million to the Epstein?
Yeah, Epstein.
I feel like the government has so many things on fire right now. They're kind of isolating and trying to pay attention to the things that are going to really fuck them up. And maybe some things are slipping. And I think all this UFO stuff, it's all the Freedom of Information Act that you're able to pull out things that we're not typically allowed to see. And that's where a lot of this came from. It's Tom DeLonge is what I'm just trying to say. He did it, dude. We mocked him,
Vince,
and he did it.
What was that? What was the name of that official that you were talking about?
That
was talking about it. What was his name?
The most recent one.
James something.
I don't think I used a name.
Look, you don't have to look it up. You said James Fravor or something like that. My only point was.
Oh, the
my
pilot.
Point to that, you don't have to look it up. James
Fravor. Yeah.
So my only was that the guy that was on Rogan?
Yeah, and he was the guy that released the Tic Tac video. Look at the cats, Dave's cats. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
It's super credible.
She's pointing out ghosts right now that are around the room.
We'll see, dude. Nobody's talking about it, which is a little scary. So,
Did you see the Las Vegas UFO thing?
Yeah, that crashed,
dude.
But it's almost like there's so much else going on that's like impacting people's life that they're distracted by, like politically, that like everyone's like, Oh, aliens? Okay, I guess. Whatever.
I know,
we have
it's
too
so
much.
weird.
We have too much going on right now. I can't
That's a
even care about
massive.
aliens.
That's a massive problem. That's a massive.
I
scary
agree with you,
problem
dude.
If your populace
It's a problem
is
that
more
we're
concerned,
dude.
but I don't know. Like, I just think it's real convenient, and it's always happens at times in which other stuff is going on. But maybe you could take it both ways, I guess.
And I just want to, and I will take it both ways. First of all,
There you go.
One's with
jets.
the water
jets.
jet, and the other,
The other one's
I don't know yet.
information.
I will say that I feel like if going back to my idea, if we adopt the bumper car idea, we will be more appealing to aliens. If they
it
come
won't
here and they
matter.
see that, they're going to be like, "These guys are fun. Look at them."
They're like, their whole Earth is one big carnival. Yeah, why would we start a fight with that? We want to join in on that. We want to adapt that on planet Zoinksonk. Yeah,
Zoinksonk?
it's-
I am stoked that Tom DeLonge seemingly has actually been doing, uncovering some of this stuff because ever since aliens exist in Enema of the State, dude, it's like he's following through with that promise.
Dude, honestly, I think that's why he went back to Blink-182. I think he's like the mission.
He's all my
accomplished.
work is done.
Mission complete,
mission
dude.
accomplished. Now I'm gonna go back and be silly, dude. I'm gonna take myself uber serious to a degree that nobody likes me, but then I'm gonna come out and be like, "See, I was right," and everybody's be like, "You were to the stars indeed."
It was, dude, like that. Yeah, like that one time he was on Rogan, like I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago or something, and he was just saying nothing. He's like, "Oh well, I believe this.
I can't tell you that.
I have blah 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 information, but I can't say anything." It's like, why are you on a podcast, dude?
But he would make also snarky comments like, "Well, I don't want to get into all that." It's like, what? The reason you're on the show?
Mm-hmm.
It's all you're on Rogan. He has 4 hours. You can get into anything you want to.
Rogan's thing is like, let's smoke joints and talk about aliens, and like, you're not gonna do that.
So I
Who
can't
are
talk
you?
about that, Joe. But it was funny because Joe did get fucking frustrated at some point. And that was one of my favorite podcasts because Joe's like, are you going to tell me anything? Is pretty much what he's saying. He's like, you're not answering a single thing I'm asking. It was great, dude. That was a hate
Dude, maybe he
listen
could.
for sure.
Maybe he really could.
Maybe,
Maybe
dude.
he was doing all that he could to let people know what was going on.
It might be true, but if you're gonna say I can't tell you anything for 3 hours, like, it's a little bit old.
I know. Then wait
for
a
sure.
few years before you go on the podcast
Yeah.
to release things. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I do love it all though, and I get sucked into it, dude.
We'll have to do another episode on this, maybe, Vince, and you can go
I'll
into a
follow
little
up, dude.
more detail about
Just Vince's UFO hour.
Vince's conspiracies.
Well, hear me out.
Dude, you know what's going to get real interesting is RFK Jr. running for president. That's going to get super interesting.
It is, dude.
We'll see. It's going to heat up, dude.
I just think that every previous president that has an elite family should just, this is how we should determine our presidents. Each one of them should just pick one, like it's a mafia family, and submit him in. We put them all in a pit, and then we're like, which elite family is going to rule us for the next 4 years?
I'm in
Yeah.
with that, Dave. None of the secret bullshit.
We're like, look, the Obama girls are going to be, they can run for office here pretty soon. Okay.
Get them in there. Get them in there,
They're in
dude.
their 20s. You got, I don't know what happened to the Bushes. They just fell off. I mean, all the dynasty families have fallen off, and it's
Hillary,
really-
she had her chance. She's out.
She's
But,
out.
even Michelle Obama can jump in there.
it's really a
Let's get
sign
them
that
on.
America
it's
is
coming.
too corrupt because we were less like when we had dynasty families. That's when we were like, oh, a little corruption. Well, yeah, your dad ran bootleg for the mob in the 20s. That was the 20s. This is the 60s. It's 40 years later. We'll let it go. We're a renegade country. We've always been a renegade rogue country. But now it's like everybody's that way. Everybody's like, yeah, my son, like of course we're laundering money. What about it? And it's like, well, he's right. Okay, what are we gonna do? Let him launder. Open the launder.
Page in the chat. No. I come here to stop hearing Vincent's conspiracy.
Maybe you can set that one out.
You're just hearing voices,
Hey,
Dave.
these are the crazy. Crazy thing is, pursuit of truth is a conspiracy. You got to get to the bottom of stuff. I also want to just point out that an alien vessel crashed in Las Vegas and nobody had a cell phone to record it.
They were scared, dude. One thing that's making me question
And
it,
everybody
though,
has Ring doorbell cameras and exterior cameras with high-powered lighting, but nobody got.
Yeah,
That's
footage
the
of
thing.
it.
It's everyone has a camera in their pocket. So
the
there's
cop
really no
the cop
excuse.
had the camera on his chest, dude, and he saw the orb land over there.
Dude, the cop was freaked out.
The cop was freaked the fuck
eeriest
out.
thing was
Yeah.
that cop in that body cam. He was like viscerally freaked out, which he was like out of breath and like, look, my partner saw something. It was weird. It was weird video.
Have you heard the details of what happened and like them explaining what the UFO and aliens did? They were supposed to be like 9-foot creatures is what they called them. And they said that they had like a tractor in their backyard. And whenever they came outside, there were, I think, 3 of them. And 2 of them were standing facing them, and they were terrifying, and that's why they didn't take video. And then one of them was inside or like next to the tractor, trying to get inside of it to like figure out how it worked, which I just thought was such a weird story.
He's like, you guys can do better than a tractor, okay?
Okay, go with me now.
He's looking for a bumper car.
Stay with me. Stay with me for a second. I noticed that the Golden Knights, didn't they just win the Stanley Cup?
No.
Yep.
Wait, did they win?
Yep. About half hour ago, dude.
It's over.
Interesting. I noticed that happened after those 3 alien. So did the Golden Knights just suddenly they just showed up with like 3 new guys? They're like, these are 3 new Russians we found, and they're really good, and they're just deaking all over the place, sitting on water jets, just having a grand old time, dude. That's my theory. I think that the Golden Knights abducted those 3 aliens.
Dude.
Oh, they abducted. Okay, I was wondering where you were gonna go with that.
Well, I thought shape shifting gave it away, but I didn't. I noticed nobody wanted to jump on it, so I backed away a little bit.
Hold on, you announced that they won. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so maybe they supplanted the players that are there. And so are you trying to say that aliens are really good hockey players?
I'm just saying, why would aliens come to this planet and land in Vegas, not hit the casinos, but like the Golden Knights are on a run in the Stanley Cup Finals? That's got to be part of it. I'm not going to rule it out.
And they're a team that's only been around for 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year as an expansion team. Who does that? Crazy.
Money does that.
Well, when you have Gary Bettman and he changes the rules so that he wants you to be good right away, it helps. But
you're missing all of it. What if Gary Bettman isn't Gary Bettman at all?
Oh,
And he's
100%. Gary Bettman can be an alien. I'm all aboard that, dude.
Is Gary?
Oh, we're 11th in the draft. Cool. Let's call down another player from Planet Zonkzoink, dude, and
Vince,
get him as a defender.
Vince, can you pull up a picture of Gary Bettman? He looks pretty alienish, actually.
I love that this is kind
it's
of
more about
just
how he
turning
behaves,
into Space Jam.
because he's kind of like
What's his name? Gary.
Oh yeah,
Gary Bettman.
Oh dude, I just found a picture of him that's so terrifying that I completely changed my stance on both water jets and ghosts.
He's a rosy boy.
Everyone hates him. Anytime he gives up to speak in the league, everyone boos, and that's been the case for about 10 years.
So what is he? What is he to the Golden Knights? Is he their coach or their GM?
Oh, he's the NHL commissioner.
Oh, so he's the Adam Silver of the NHL. Adam Silver's an alien too. Vince, pull up Adam Silver. Let's get
They're
all
all
of
aliens,
the
dude.
Who's running baseball? Rob Manfred. Let's see what he looks like.
Yeah, Gary Bettman actually maybe looks a little bit more like a lizard person. If I had to pick something,
Dude, they all do. Why
Here's
do they
Gary
all
Bettman.
lizard people, dude?
are you able to pull anything up, Vince? Oh, there we go. Nice.
We got Gary Bettman.
That's him trying
No.
real hard to be appealing.
That's Gary going, wait, you didn't let me finish. Okay.
Gary
Now, okay, hang on.
Gary's lying about something in that picture, for sure. You don't put that finger up unless you're like, now, hold on a second. Don't believe your eyes.
That is what he's doing. He was responding to everybody booing at him and being like, oh, no.
No.
I'll put
Who's
more
the
ads
other
on
person you
jerseys.
said?
Is that what you want? I'll keep doing it.
Dude.
Who's the other person
He's
you
all,
said? Eli?
your jerseys look like soccer jerseys before the week's out, okay?
We will sell the fuck out even more.
We're switching the cotton.
Did you guys like the AR ads that are on the ice? We'll keep going.
No, Gary, nobody downloaded the app, okay? We couldn't do it at all.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
that's
broken.
not what data says. Dude.
All right, well, we're way over time. Should we call it?
Hey, we can call it. We can also, we got any more riffs on Gary Bettman that we can go through?
Lizard people. I feel like we should have a full episode that's devoted to like the wildest conspiracies, and then we can all like debate like how we feel about them. That'd be awesome.
I think I might be interested in that, Dave.
Dave, remember when me and Dave's cousin got obsessed in college that Tupac. We were really convinced ourselves that Tupac was still alive. There were some convincing videos at that time.
I remember when
Tupac truther?
I remember at one point. This is back in the days, like before a lot of what we have now. I remember you guys were downloading the Tupac movie. I forget what
Yeah.
it's called, but then you guys sat down and putting it up on a big screen and got everyone together. Like, yeah, this is a Tupac movie, and played it, and it was like the most raunchy like porno like
It was the most hardcore.
ever
What?
seen, dude.
It was a capital triple X, and we're at a Christian school, so it made for a interesting viewing audience. But a great documentary. Great documentary.
Oh my god.
It's great. But no, yeah, we dude, there was videos that me and John found that were like there was one where it was like Tupac outside his studio, and this was 2006. No way they CGI'd it. It looked like Tupac was out. They must have just got like a really good body double, or like, you know, I don't know, somebody. But
I hope everything's real. I hope every conspiracy is real.
Is it cake?
I do hope that everybody there's people that have ghost superpowers that can sense all that, psychic powers. I hope Bigfoot's real. I hope Nessie's real. I hope dragons are real. I talked to a guy that legit thinks that dragons are still alive and the dinosaurs are still alive and that they live in the Amazon, part of the Amazon that hasn't been discovered yet.
How is
I
Corey?
hope that's real, dude.
dude, that dude, did he say the Amazon or the Congo? Because I've heard that theory too. People believe that in the Congo is so dense, the forest is so dense and so massive that each layer of the forest you go through like basically takes you back in time. And there was like a Vice on it. Remember that one with David Cho? And like he went and they gave him the tribe gave him like a bunch of hallucinogenics, and then they're like, oh, the dinosaur, we're gonna see the dinosaur. And then when he was tripping and like he crested his trip, they freaking dressed up in like a dinosaur and were like, it was hilarious. But that is the thing I've heard too, of like there's supposedly a great ape that's like in the Congo that they all have seen that's like massive. It's like a giant ape.
Dude, we gotta find it, dude. At some point in our lives, let's go find it, dude.
Dude, I don't know that me and the Congo are gonna mix very well. I don't know.
You'll get malaria, but you'll see a giant ape, dude.
I'm all right, guys. We can go home now. It's a giant ape. I mean, if you find a giant ape, you have to put it in a zoo, right? Like that's your responsibility. It belongs in a museum.
No,
In this climate,
that's
dude?
that's how King Kong started, dude.
Yeah, you gotta let it go.
You gotta let it be free and just accept that.
But then you usher in the kaiju era, dude. And then like,
dude, we need
sure
it.
it's rough.
It's time. We need to recycle,
yeah, I'd
dude.
be fine with it, dude.
Yeah.
We'd all die, but the great part is like the entertainment before, like now this is the way an empire is supposed to go down, with kaiju just coming from the oceans and taking us out.
Yeah, I'd be like, this makes sense, dude.
But first, we just need this SAG strike to end. You know what I'm saying?
It's equally important to the kaiju.
We have one comment before we start getting out of here. What if they were actually all the mirror selves? So the UFOs were actually our mirror selves coming through. So then would the UFO itself be like a flying mirror that they were able to use to travel?
I don't know. I
Added that part?
don't see them using a vessel to travel if they're in the mirror. I feel like they would just traverse the mirror. And they would
Agreed.
Because think about when you're in a mirror, when you're looking at a mirror, it's some of the most vulnerable times in your life, right? Because you're like looking at something either through vanity or you're looking at something, you know, like a pore or something like that. So they would use that opportunity when you least expect it, and they would just grab your hand, and that's how they have to do it. They have to interlock hands, so they'd have to wait for the right moment, and then they pull you through. And you wouldn't see them pull you through. You would just be like, "Oh, that's weird," but you're in a flipped.
Yeah, I've seen the music video, and then everything's like sketched.
That's aha, but yeah, same general concept there.
Oh, okay.
How does the mirror know? Let's go back to that.
How does the
How
mirror
does the
know?
mirror know?
And this is fun. That was my favorite part of the video. He's like, and you can do this with anything. It's like, yeah, we know, dude. It's a mirror. Yeah, we know. We got you.
So, but you can't do it with a mirror.
Dude, I like the conspiracy show. Maybe we do that next week. There's a lot of fun conspiracies that we could come in with. We'd have to make it clear that we're just like, you know.
I know a lot, but I also got to do some proper research.
How deep do you guys want to go, dude?
I think like a middle ground, because I think
give me a
like,
level. It's like Thai food. How spicy do you want it?
I think if we know we bring in just enough knowledge of a said conspiracy, it makes for a funnier, it makes for a more comedic situation, because then it gets crazy, and that's when you really go down the rabbit hole, because the sane people in the conversation start going, now wait a second,
We can pull from we can go into the recesses of like Reddit or something and then pull some quotes from it and kind of hear some people's vantage points.
Hear me out. How about I bring some stuff next week for conspiracy? It can only be a portion of it. It can be the whole show if you guys want. Let me bring in some stuff. I'll do some government provable conspiracies, and then I'll sprinkle in a little bit of lizard people in there just to see.
Okay, but totally do that. But here's what you have to do on top of that. You have to bring in a conspiracy that you make up, and Dave and I have to decide if it's a real conspiracy.
Which is the real one?
If it's a real conspiracy, it's a little bit of, are you telling the truth or whatever that game show was? So we can kind of, because I think in 2023 that's not going to be so easy.
Three truths and a lie or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to disseminate, dude.
So if you're in the chat and
you
don't already follow us on Twitch, follow us. Next week's show is gonna be a banger. I can promise that, because Vince is doing all the work. So
this is my wheelhouse, dude.
We know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm stoked, dude.
All right, well, good talk. Thanks for you guys really brought a lot of wisdom and camera angles. Apparently,
my cat is shrinking. I think my cat is pulling my camera cord from under my desk. Maybe it's a ghost. I don't know.
Dude, you need a water jet so that you can just go put your cats on.
Well, hey.
Throw rocks at it, while
the cats just start backing up in the frame. He's all, I just realized we're going to lose our one viewer, Paige. She doesn't want to hear all my conspiracy shit. She's already heard it.
She's going to be out that week, dude.
All right, well, thanks, everybody. Go check out our YouTube channel, Chance and Penner on YouTube. We got a lot of cool shorts. We got a lot of cool clips. Dave told a pretty funny Viking story last week, so that one's going to be up soonish. We already did the short, but I'm going to release the full story because I think it gives a lot of insight that the shorts just couldn't capture. So go comment on our stuff and engage. We like interaction with people of the interwebs. So come back, and if you've got a conspiracy theory to suggest or you want to come back next week and present in the chat, let's do it, baby. Let's go for it.
Yeah, and a lot of these stories are like us, sort of like working out experiences and potentially material for season 2 of our comedy album that we're going to be working on soon. So yeah, it'd be awesome to hear some feedback on that.
Yeah, and if we need a new producer, guys, just tell us. Like, it's fine. We can build bridges. There'll be tears, but we can figure it out.
Vince does have a great pirate flag in the back.
Thank you. It's a violent gentleman flag.
I do love it. Is that Violent Gentleman, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
Nobody likes us, and we don't care.
Yeah.
Look at Vince's books are color-coded, or at least that's the way it looks.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, the voices tell Paige which color to start with, and then she gets to take.
Did you specifically do that based on color?
No, that's all peach trees, dude.
Wow.
I get this corner. I get my comic book corner, and then all my books are in the bedroom for some reason. She doesn't want them to be visible because it's all conspiracy books, so they're all hidden in there.
Yes, and thank you to the producer's producer.
Yes.
Hats off. None of this would be possible.
We pledge our fealty to Peachtree.
I still want her to do it one day. I just want to start the show and you guys not even realize it. And she's just like, all right, guys, we're starting.
But she has to come on as you. So you got to go the full. You got to get spirit gum, put on the beard. You got to do it. She's got to wear Violent Gentleman.
I'll spray her in the face so she looks just as. Wow.
And then you have to become Peachtree, Vince.
Just start getting things right.
Yeah, we'll come to you for answers. All right. On that note, thanks, Vince.
All right, guys.
Thanks, chat. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Did he call me illiterate?
I don't know why I did that voice.
Vince, I'm kidding. Come back.
Skipping through the answers.